Hello everyone, Daria here and welcome to another lesson. Today we continue speaking about Russian verbs and it's gonna be a nightmare. So let's begin. If you are new here, please go to lesson number 5 because there we started speaking about verbs. And we talked that to conjugate a verb, we take infinitive, which consists of a stem and this t in the ending. And we keep the stem and add different endings depending on the pronoun. So, я читаю, I'm reading. Я чита, we get rid of t and we add you. Я читаю. I hope you remember others as well. So here they all are. Second person, we add ешь. Ты читаешь, you read. And by the way, excuse me if you hear some background noise because as soon as I decide to record a video, the neighbors decide to drill something. Some guy on the street decided to play saxophone. So yeah, as usual. So он, она, оно, he, she, it, we add ет. Мы, we add ем. Вы читаете, они читают. And remember other verbs like, what was there? Работать, гулять, and all the verbs from lesson number 5. But it was just a trick. And people were asking, was it really that simple? That's it? That's those terrible Russian verbs? Is it so simple? Of course it's not. I just wanted you to feel that you can do it that easily. So with one part mastered already, it will be easy for you to move forward, to grab another small piece, to master this one, and just like that, step by step, moving forward. So let's talk about other verbs now. So there are two large groups of Russian verbs. We call them the first conjugation and the second conjugation. And again, it's all about the endings. The verbs that end with these groups of letters, at, ять, we already talked about them in lesson 5. Гулять, работать, читать, they go to the first group. Also verbs with еть, like болеть, to be sick. We also mentioned it in lesson number 5. От, уть, ыть. So if a verb ends with something like this, it's the first group. And the endings are the ones we already mentioned today. You, гуляю, or у sometimes. Ешь, ете, ешь, ет, ем, ете, and ют, ут. So, let's leave it alone for some time because this part is a true nightmare. Let's talk about the second conjugation. Most of the verbs, except for just a couple of exceptions, of course, the verbs ending with eat. So at, here we have eat. And this one is super simple to remember. I'll explain why. Look at the verb говорить. It means to speak. To speak. So we see that it ends with it. Говорить. By the way, again, repeat after me. Говорить. Говорить. To speak. I'm speaking, я говорю. So let's practice with this table. So let's have a look at the endings. Я говорю. First person, the same system. It's у or you. But here you see that we dropped this e. Sometimes it happens. So you, говорю, stress goes here. Я говорю. I speak. Я говорю. Second person. Ты говоришь. Говоришь. Remember that soft sign after sh. Говоришь. Ты говоришь. You speak. Он, она, оно, he, she, it, говорит. Almost a poem. He, she, it, говорит. Говорит. E again. And are you starting to notice this system? E, almost everywhere. So, говоришь, говорит, мы говорим, говорим, мы говорим, вы говорите, говорите, они, here is a little bit difficult one, говорят, я in the ending. Они говорят. They speak. Они говорят. So, I want you to pause the video and write everything down. And while I'm speaking, you can do that also without stopping the video. So, as I've already mentioned, E here in the infinitive, говорить. So, it's easy to remember that E stays in most of the situations. It's just я говорю and они говорят. The rest are the same as in the previous situation. Ед, ешь, ем. Here it's just иш, eat, им, but in general it's the same. One of the biggest problems of Russian verbs is that sometimes when you conjugate them, the consonant in the stem changes, and it's very difficult to understand the logic behind that. So it's just something that you need to accept. For example, the verb шутить. Шутить, to joke, to make a joke. Шутить. Шутить. On the first side, it's pretty simple, right? Eat in the ending. So there is a temptation to say шутю, but it's not correct. And in the first person, this th changes to ch. Шучу. Шучу. I'm joking, I'm kidding. The rest is just fine. Ты шутишь. Nothing special here. Ты шутишь. Он, она, оно шутит. Мы шутим. Шутим. We're joking. Вы шутите. Шутите. I think I need to change this dude because it's hard to see anything. Шутите. И они, guess what? Шутят. Шутят. So you see this major change here. Шутить, шучу. Я шучу. I am joking. And this will happen in many verbs. So the only way to remember this is to practice, practice, and practice. Those were the examples of the second conjugation when you put E in the endings. Now let's get back to the first one, just like in lesson 5 with ye, ешь, ед. And for example, let's take a verb рисовать, to draw, рисовать, рисовать, this is O. Рисовать, to draw, to draw, to draw, рисовать. Here again comes this weird change of letters in conjugation system. So let's have a look at the table. We see that we don't say рисоваю. We get rid of this and add у. This one stays just like in the previous examples. Я рисую. Ты рисуешь. Он, она, оно рисует. Мы рисуем. Вы рисуете. You see, the rest again is the same. Ед, ем, ете, ют. So in general, this system will stay the same. And the only thing you need to understand is those little changes. And there is a system behind it, but it's very difficult to understand even for Russian people. For example, here would be verbs on ова and ева. For example, танцевать, the verb to dance. Танцевать. 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 And it will be я танцую. Again, you hear that у. Oh, танцую, yes. That у appearing here, just like here. Ты танцуешь. Он танцует. Они танцуют. Мы танцуем. Вы танцуете. So, you need to kind of just really accept this as a fact and don't try to understand why it is like that. Today, I'm not gonna give you all the situations, all the exceptions and examples because it will take forever and it will be a complete waste of time because you'll be overwhelmed with information and you'll be just having one desire to run away and to forget about this. So it's just a brief intro into verbs and I want you to understand the main point, how to learn them properly. In today's lesson, I just want you to understand that there are two main groups. Ye group, kind of, and E group. Ish, it, im, ite. So, ye and e. And inside those groups, there are smaller groups that can change a little bit from infinitive, but the main idea stays the same. So you need to kind of grasp the whole picture and then learn the smaller pieces of it. Don't worry that I didn't explain everything today. Below this video you will find a link to the page with all the resources. I'll put PDFs with explanations and grammar tables there so you can do it yourself at your own pace. Don't worry, no hurry here. So today I want you to understand how to learn them. And here there is, again, I guess I told it so many times. Here the key point is practice. Is it correct? Practice. It is correct, but it's written ugly. Practice. And I just can't emphasize it enough. Right now I'm gonna be talking a little bit, so relax, you don't have to write anymore, but please don't skip this part of the video. It's extremely important. It's the most important part. Please listen to me. Everybody makes mistakes or when they are kids in Russia. I mean, even for us, this whole stuff is terrible. I'm looking at my 4-year-old son, and even with this particular verb, he constantly makes mistakes. He says рисоваю, so that ова, ева, he would say я рисоваю, or я танцеваю instead of я рисую, я танцую. And that's what happens with those verbs. It's not logical. It's just something that you need to, I don't know, master automatically. That's how I teach my son. He says, я танцеваю, and then I'm not correcting him saying, неправильно, it's not correct, you should say танцую. I just say the correct version of it. For example, he says, я танцеваю, and I say, I'm dancing too. Я тоже танцую. And he repeats after me, и я танцую. So I didn't explain to him that here you should change the consonant and get rid of this part of the stem. I just gave him the right answer, and he repeated after me. The very next day, he forgot and again made this mistake. I repeated again. Then again he repeated, just like that, several times and many times, this repetition. Finally, he's not making mistakes in these verbs, but he makes mistakes in many other verbs. That's how we learn them, through practice. No point in learning those endings by heart, because when it comes to a real-time conversation or to a situation when you need to write really fast, you will have to scroll all those tables in your mind and analyze the ending. So what to do here, it will slow you down. It will slow you down. So practice and repetition. I guess I'm mispronouncing repetition. Terrible. So practice as many times as possible. It's the only way to deal with those verbs. If you try to understand them with your with common sense and logic, you will lose, I assure you. And if you feel, and you will have this feeling, I promise you, you will open the charts, the tables that I will give to you under this video, and you will freak out. I promise you will freak out, because it's a nightmare. It's terrible. And it's just the beginning. But don't let it scare you. Don't let it scare you. Because in real life, even this is not a barrier on your way to speaking. Even if you just use the infinitive, even if you ignore those endings completely, again, native speakers will understand. If you send a message to them, я рисовать сегодня, instead of я рисую сегодня, you say, I to draw today. They understand the meaning, and don't let this frustrate you. That's what I'm saying. And my colleagues, teachers, they always blame me for that. They say, are you crazy? Are you nuts? You teach people to speak with mistakes, to make mistakes. It's impossible. You're not a teacher. And I'm just like, what? That's why so many language learners can't speak. They can know this stuff perfectly eventually after a couple of years of studying like crazy. But they can't speak because everybody was constantly correcting their mistakes. So they became shy, they became afraid, and who cares about this grammar if you're not a linguist, for example? If your goal is pure communication with native speakers, with your boyfriend, girlfriend, your friend, anyone, who will they care? Your boyfriend, your girlfriend, would they care about these endings? They will not. They'll be happy that you are trying. So just use this infinitive while you're slowly learning on the side. So don't blame yourself if you don't understand everything. If you can't remember that here you suddenly add u and there are some suddenly t changes to sh. It doesn't make sense. Not all of us are geniuses who can just, grab it instantly. So, again, I'm so excited. I'm sorry, because it's just, so many students quit at this stage, and it's so frustrating. They quit because they think they're not capable of learning this. If it's too difficult, don't learn it, don't study it. Just enjoy the language, use infinitive for some time. And slowly, step by step, verb by verb, group them together, the verbs that have the similar. That's what happens when I get too excited. Yeah, even my throat is against this, not just my colleagues. So, group the verbs that are conjugated the same way. I think I will group them for you on my website. So, the homework for today, don't freak out, practice, practice, and practice, and don't forget to check out the link below this video because I will put all the resources I like about the verbs, and there are sites that you can type the verb and this full table will be there for you absolutely for free. So, yeah, enough talking, okay. So that was it for today. Thank you very much, guys, for staying with me. It's lesson number 10. It's a big deal. And I hope you've enjoyed it as much as possible to enjoy Russian verbs. And I'll be happy if you give me a little thumbs up and if you share my channel with your friends who maybe are interested in Russia or the Russian language. So that's it for today. I'll be happy to see you in my next video. Bye-bye.